Yes.
What number are you in birth order?
What number 8? Number 8. I didn't study.
And what is your earliest memory?
My earliest memory? Probably when the syrup mill was constructed during the war. And I guess I was 5 years old, right towards the end of the war, and we were helping to haul wood from the forest to burn or to heat up the juice of the sugarcane, be able to get some syrup, because it was the only commodity that was rationed during the war, and couldn't make sugar, so we made syrup with it.
Which of your siblings were you closest to?
Which of my siblings was I closest to?
You apparently did not study.
No, I didn't, but I would think that I don't know if I was close to any one of them as such. I guess my oldest one, which was my parent or my godfather, was always, even though he was the black sheep, he was an icon in my memory.
Who's this?
Patrick.
What do you remember about the old house?
Oh boy, I remember taking baths in a number 3 tub in the winter and bathing in the lake in the summer, and I guess sleeping on top of each other because it was a real small house. But I remember at times it got so cold that my mother would heat up the irons that they use for ironing in the ironing the clothes, and use that at the foot of our beds to keep us warm. Is that right, Parker?
How did you get to school?
We crossed over when I started school. I think we lived only a couple of years by the time I started school here, and Mama used to cross us over in what we call a flat bottom boat. It was called a chalon. And she would paddle us across every morning, and then in the afternoons we'd wait by across where they had some Spanish moss beds that were curing and drying, and we'd holler out, and she knew about when to come get us, so we'd cross over. We didn't have any road system whatsoever in those days. It was strictly about water.
So what sort of food was Mom for you right then?
Most of what type of food?
Yeah.
I can remember pork fricassee, white beans, and rice. I mean, that was the staple, I think, for most of us as we worked in the fields. It was, and that was the big meal at noon. We ate light at night with warm milk. That we had milk from the cows and cornbread or couscous.
What about holidays and Christmas?
I don't know if we had much of holidays. I mean, my mother was very religious, and I think in those days, Christmas meant more to us as a holiday than all the gifts and everything else. I really can't remember any specific gift as a child that I received during Christmas. I'm sure she gave us some small gifts, one way or the other, but I can't remember any significant things of that nature. Just that she was a religious person, and she emphasized that those holidays, Easter and Christmas.
But how did you and Sue meet?
Oh, that's a long story. We can cut that short on a blind date. My favorite buddy, Alan, was going out with Sue's classmate, and he had to double date to go out that evening, and so I remember I was playing baseball in Catahoula, and he came to the fence and called me over and says, "Look, you got to come with me tonight." I said, where are we going? He says, "Got a date for you." And I said, "What's the occasion?" "Well, I can't go out if I don't have somebody else to date with, or to have a couple." And so I decided to do that, and that was the beginning. And if She may correct me, but I think at one point early on, before I left to go to Africa, I was cocky enough to tell her that we'd get married.
How did you get involved with the Peace Corps?
At USL, we had a flyer on a chalkboard or on a wallboard, and it just caught my eye. And the fact was that what I really wanted to do in life was join military and become a pilot. But this caught my eye. Two of us from USL, out of probably 7,000-8,000 students, went to a session with a recruiter, and I decided I'd try out, and came back home, and I told my mother and father, and of course my mother wasn't too keen, and my father said, that's what you want, go for it. And so that's how I started off in the Peace Corps.
So Sue, what did you think of meeting this young guy who was suddenly going to go off to Africa?
Well, we had decided we were going to get married, and just figured wait 2 years, and we did. We wrote letters the whole time. We never spoke to each other because there were no telephones in the town he was in, and
No cell phones?
no cell phones, no telephones. So we'd write to each other, and that's how we planned the wedding. And probably came in about a week and a half before the wedding, and then soon after we left, after the wedding.
And now she holds me hostage with the shoebox full of letters.
You got the letters?
She got the letters.
Ah, I still got everything.
I'm sunk, man, that's it.
Yeah.
So what are your most favorite memories about your parents?
Favorite, or are you going to ask least favorable or favorable? Just
Whatever.
okay.
What
But
comes to
I mean,
mind?
my father was a disciplinarian. He was very, very strict, and Mama was the the equalizer. So, we played as kids. We played that role. I mean, Papa would get on us. We'd go to Mama. Mom would take care of us, and next thing you know, we'd be back in trouble. I can remember my first spanking, or whipping. In those days, it wasn't a spanking, it was a whipping. During the war, I must have been 4 and a half, 5 years old. There's always a lamp in the dining room and kitchen. The back compartment was actually the kitchen and dining room. And that small table had a lamp on it, kerosene lamp. And whenever there were planes in the sky, the radio would say, and we didn't have a radio, but I mean, from the community, take your lamp and put it under so they can't see the light and everything. So put it under, and of course I was down there playing with the lamp, and Papa said, stop playing with the lamp. And of course I did for about 10 seconds and then started again, and he pulled me from under there, and I'll never forget. That was the first and probably the last one I needed. But it was, and of course, my mother, as religious as she could be, the fond memory of her is every Sunday morning in church, where you don't see people wearing veils anymore. She never go in church without a veil.
So what does everyone else remember of Mama and Papa?
Crawfish stew. Summer Joy Kool-Aid with no sugar in it, because
Forgot
Papa was
about that.
diabetic. I hated root beer. She would make
A
root
little
beer.
bottle.
Hated the root beer, so I'd
You
always
have an
have
old
to drink.
bottle?
No, I remember the old
Oh.
little bottle.
Concentrated.
Summer Joy, no sugar.
The big box fan,
Big box.
Yes, huge box fan.
and she would get like frozen strawberries or frozen blackberries. You remember that? Put them in a bowl, solid as a rock.
Mhm.
For you to eat as a snack.
Blackberries.
Pour
Front of the
sugar
fan.
over it.
I don't remember that.
The coffee, Saturday mornings when everybody
yeah.
met and the spoon would stick straight up, the coffee was so thick.
Yep.
And they'd pour about 2 tablespoons and then the rest milk for the kids. It's coffee milk.
What about, what? We'd probably get over there at 11 o'clock and they were already taking a nap. You'd walk in, they had the box fan going, they were taking a nap and it smelled nothing but the Big South. God.
Yeah.
What about the time we went clean the house?
Oh, yeah.
We cleaned the house and we were in the bedroom and we found this crock pot,
Crock pot.
the old time crock pot. I'm like, oh my God, what's in this? I said, Papa killed somebody, cut him into pieces and put him in this crock pot because
How far does the apple fall from the tree? That's your damn daughter.
it's big pieces
You're
of
exactly the
flesh.
same way as her.
It was salt and pork. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I'd never seen that before.
Yeah.
It was
Salt and pork.
salt. They would put the pork
Pork
in
and
there
then put salt and put
salt.
pork and put salt. Yeah, that's the way
But
we
I just
preserve.
assumed
Yeah.
because Papa was so mean. I said he done killed somebody, cut him up, and put him in this crock pot.
That's a nice way.
But Mama would make her coffee in the morning. I used to watch her, and she would boil the water and spoon feed the grinds, 1 spoon at a time. It probably took her 10 or 15 minutes for that first cup, and then she'd take the grinds out and pour that out and start the regular coffee. But that was her coffee in the morning. Heavy duty stuff.
And speaking of my mom, Shati Bebe, my mom, Tishuga.
Tishuga.
Tishuga, in her rocking chair with her hair always braided.
The irony of Papa being the disciplinarian for Jude and I don't know if Jude remembers, but when we would go Saturday mornings and they had all the grandkids and everybody was there, for whatever reason, Papa would take Jude and I, and we'd go ride with him. We'd jump in the pickup truck, come out to the farm, ride around the farm. He'd take-
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He took
I
care of the
never- he never took
grandkids.
me anywhere. I don't remember ever going anywhere with him.
As far as I know, we're the only 2 grandkids that he ever did that with.
Well, and he was the only one that came to, our wedding was the only one he attended. Out of all the 9 kids, he attended ours, and he didn't go to Howard's either.
Oh, what about
I have no
cigar?
idea
He
why.
always had he would make his own cigarettes.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Always
with
cigar. He
Target,
always had a cigar box.
with Target, yeah.
Making his own
He gave us the cigar boxes we use as
pencil
school
boxes.
boxes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bucks. Yeah, and then so we'd go ride around the farm, then he'd take us to the grocery store,
Yeah.
and he'd let us buy some
Candy.
gum or candy or.
You have a pocket full of change.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the funny thing we get,
Ah,
they had those little fake cigarettes with the
Yeah.
gum,
Oh, yeah.
and we get those, and it was not a problem because he started off smoking cigarettes, and he moved to cigars, and when he got home at night, he'd smoke a pipe.
Mm-hmm.
So for us as kids, playing like we were smoking
It was no big
and
deal.
chewing on the gum, it was no big deal.
God, I don't think I ever rode with him anywhere. My mom never drove.
No.
Never
Not
learned to
till after.
drive. She never drove.
But
She
it
did
would,
after Papa died.
see, it would be
Uh-uh.
interesting,
Uh-uh.
see, it would be interesting because his mentality was, you know, I'll deal with the grandsons, but the granddaughters
Yeah, I don't-
want anything to do with it.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah, I
ever
just-
remember anything
Yeah.
with Papa.
What sort of things would she cook?
Crawfish. Seems like always crawfish. It's true. Crawfish. That's all I ever
Chicken
remember.
stew.
I don't remember that.
Coubillon.
Seems like we always had crawfish.
We hardly ever had beef because the staples was pork. We grew it. Chicken, we grew it. You know, the only 2 commodities we bought frequently was rice and sugar. We had our own corn. We ground it into cornmeal. So I mean, you know, but it was pork, chicken.
But it was always a tradition too that every Sunday they had all the kids over. Even when Daddy was overseas, I'd come with cheese and Tommy.
And
Spend
even
the
growing
day
up all
for
the
Sunday.
holidays, I mean, and we would play in the puddles of
Yeah.
the holes in their yard is what we played, and I remember that.
With
that
the
was
crawfish.
yeah, that was our toys. Tinker toys,
Tinker toys.
Lincoln
Tinker toys.
Logs. That's the only toys they had at their house. I
Yeah.
wonder where that's at.
I don't know.
One toy.
I said that anymore.
What's that?
I haven't seen
Lincoln.
it.
Where we would sleep? Where would we sleep? In that back room.
That. What about that?
Oh,
Was
she
it
had a
that?
washing machine that you'd have to ring. I remember doing that with her.
Mm.
Ringing.
Yummy.
My mom did. When you'd walk in that first, you get under the garage, and then it was the screened-in area. She had it right there at the steps.
At the porch.
Ring it, yeah.
I remember that old back room with all the potatoes.
Yep.
It smelled.
Stunk. I even remember that.
What about?
And it was
coming
hot,
into play.
always hot.
Well, yeah.
And in his
Yeah.
back shed, he had a Yeah. It was that thing that you do like this to hold a piece of wood.
Yeah, and you slide it and then turn it.
And yeah, and why was that fascinating?
I don't know.
Maybe
Always
that's what
felt
he
like
did to
it
us. He
would
put our
chop my
hand in
fingers
there.
off.
Those bulldogs were back there too, then.
Bulldogs.
You don't remember the bulldogs that Pop had?
You got it?
Mm-mm.
He had bulldogs for a couple of years.
Could be, could be, I mean,
And he kept them in that shed behind the fig tree.
Huh. Oh, the figs, Lord. We used to climb those fig trees,
Picking,
pick figs,
and how about
pick
pecans?
potatoes, pick
Try to
beans,
figure it out.
shell beans.
So what does it mean to be a Theriot?
Nervous.
Yes.
impatient.
Wound up.
Impatient.
Wound up tight.
Late.
Late.
But, you know,
Late.
That's
No,
more.
that's not
more.
Theriot.
That's why.
but we, I mean, I guess it was a good trait. I mean, we were all, I mean, as far as I can tell, we were all fairly aggressive, except for Gloria. I mean, everyone, Sis.
Nervous.
I mean, we were all aggressive to be able to, and I mean, early on, because the older kids worked so hard on the farm, they cleared this whole piece of land here with mules and hand saws. So those older ones, Patrick and David, Shine and Pierre and Cheese, as soon as they could, at 17, 18 years old, they took off and went to the dredge boats and the boats to operate,
Make some money.
make some money. And, you know, so it was, I mean, you know, the good old days were nice, but it taught us a lot. But I think discipline is a trait too, because I mean, when the kids were growing up, I would get the kids to plant sugarcane in the field, and you know, it's
You planted sugarcane, Dewey?
I drove the tractor.
drove the tractor. It
Oh,
was too
y'all
small.
relaxed out there.
But,
Hello, I
know,
planted
You
sugarcane.
planted?
Oh my God, Minnie.
I did.
Before
too.
you get to school, it was right before we start school. We
I
planted.
definitely planted.
Yeah. So
I would pull the cane, plant it, and then when it was time to turn the tractor to the next row, I'd have to run up, hop on the tractor, turn it in the row, and then it would self-drive while we planted.
That's why Mama doesn't let y'all play.
But,
games. She's working outside.
I mean, it's I guess it's just an experience that the
They
kids.
needed to have.
Well, they did it, but then they remember it, and it was hard work, and I think it paid off.
Oh, definitely. What else did we plant? Potatoes. We picked potatoes.
Oh,
Green beans.
we
Green
had
beans, blackberries.
we started in 47, 46, 47. We had cayenne pepper and corn and sweet potatoes and cotton. We had cotton all up and down those fields, and it was, to me, it was the worst thing to pick, because we were so impatient to get something in the sack. Sometimes we'd put the green bowls in to give it some weight. And of course, when we were discovered, yeah, that was church for us. But you know, cayenne pepper was the best, the quickest for us to fill a sack that weighed 60 pounds, because it was long peppers and it picked fast. Even though it was very hot on the hand, we'd put wax and stuff on our hands to prevent the pepper from burning us up.
Any other last thoughts?
So what y'all think, kiddies? That
Y'all not
missed-
gonna blink an eye whenever I tell you to fold a basket of clothes now, huh?
Like, you know.
Air
I folded-
condition, watch
I folded
Nickelodeon,
2
fold the clothes.
baskets of clothes.
You did. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Well, it was interesting growing up. The good old days. I don't care to go back to them, but it taught me life experiences that I think a lot of people would love to be able to do. You hear about these urbanites wanting to go out to the countryside now and to experience more life in country, and I think it was a great thing. And of course, a favorable, a good memory is the trip we took 2 years ago to go back to see where our ancestors came from in Martes in the Loire Valley, and follow their footsteps back to Nova Scotia and to Louisiana. It took guts in those days for a young guy by the name of Jean Theriot to do what he did, and went to Nova Scotia, liked it, went back, got married, and had something like 10, 11 kids, and from there on, the Theriot spread. So.
Got it?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
Okay, let's go to the races.
Red Bull, got a Red
There's
Bull.
one more.
And